done. And then I'm just gonna like jump on in and kind of get started with exactly how I cream contour. So the first thing that I'm going to do is just apply a thin layer of foundation. So for foundation today, I'm using the Makeup Forever Ultra HD. I'm in the shade 140 equals Y305, and I'm using the Morphe M439 brush to blend this in. I love this brush. It's amazing. So I'm just going to take a couple pumps on the back of my hand and then dip this in. And then that's what I'm going to be doing for foundation. So I'm just going to kind of place it in all the areas that I want it first and then go in and buff it out. And I'm doing a very thin layer. That's kind of why I picked this foundation, because it is super thin, but it gives a nice medium coverage. And you don't need to be like too perfectly covered, because you are going to be going in with a lot of layers of products, so you don't want to make any one layer too thick or it's not going to give you the finish that you want. That our foundation is on, we are going to start the like outlining of everything that we're doing. So for concealer, I'm going to be using the Makeup Forever Ultra HD concealer. I'm in the shade Y23. This is like a little light, so it's a really good highlighting shade for me. This is not like the exact color of my skin, which lately I've been liking that look for concealer, but this one is bright. And then for the cream contour, I'm using the NYX Sculpt Highlight Face Duo, and I am in the shade Caramel and Vanilla. So it looks like this. It's just like a little easy duo-sided highlight and contour palette. My other favorite cream bronzer would be the Pure Sculpture by MAC. It looks like this. It's like an amazing color, but I think I've used that on camera before, so I wanted to try something new. So I'm going to go with this, and I'm going to start by doing my concealer, and you'll kind of see I just kind of use this tube because then it just lays the thinnest layer, and I'm just kind of squeezing that right onto the areas that I want to conceal. And I always do this in an upside down triangle. This is super important, especially if you are contouring, because you do not, all the areas that you want to look, so all the areas that you want to kind of like be featured or noticed, you want to highlight, and then the areas that you want sunken in, so the areas that you want out, you want to highlight, the areas you want sunken in, you want to contour. So I want the under eye area to be like extremely bright and fresh looking, so that's why I'm doing that. And then I'm going to go in with the NYX product for everything else. But this, I think that NYX products will crease under my eyes because this is the area that I crease the most. But for the rest of the face, I'm going to go in with the NYX product. So we'll go in and highlight the rest of the faces using the vanilla shade. And I do it on my chin, down the bridge of my nose. Try and make that line as straight as you can. Sometimes that's hard for me, but that will really look like once you know that part of your nose kind of comes out, because you're going to do the contour of your nose. The thinner of a line you do, or the closer together that your lines are when you contour your nose, the thinner your nose is going to look. So this thin, brighter spot is going to kind of highlight that, and then it's going to look a lot more thin. And then I'm also going to do a normal triangle right here. And these shapes do not matter, like that whole like thing that's all over YouTube of like different shapes and stuff of like how to contour, and like it looks like a clown face or whatever, like it doesn't matter the shape because you're going to blend all of this in. Then I'm going to go in with the darker shade, and I'm going to show you the areas that I'm going to contour. So I'm going to contour around my forehead. Now if you have, I don't have a huge forehead, the bigger your forehead is, the closer you want to bring these lines in. But if you don't really have a big forehead, just kind of go on the outline. You're still going to blend it down, but if you have a bigger forehead, just keep bringing the lines in a little bit closer. And then for our cheekbones, I have pretty rounded cheeks, so I'm just going to do a straight line. If you want rounded cheeks and you don't have it, make sure to kind of bring that line up and do like little J's on your cheeks. But I have a pretty defined cheekbone anyways, so I'm just going to draw a line like this. So I typically take it from the top of your ear and bring it all the way down to like kind of where the tip of your eyebrow would meet a triangle. So I don't know if that's making any sense, but from the tip of your ear down, so right here, and then where the tip of your eyebrow would end is where you want it to stop. So then for my nose, it's pretty wide, so I keep my lines, or I try to keep my contour lines pretty close together. And then we'll kind of bring it in right here so that it accentuates that shading as well. So I keep my lines pretty close together. I think it's easier to do the other line first, because then you can kind of just keep this line right next to it and just and then you don't really have to like have the most perfect steady hand. You'll just draw the darker line right next to it, and then I kind of meet it at a triangle at the bottom. I don't know if you can see this, but like that. And then the other areas that I like to contour are right here under my chin, because it makes your bottom look a little fuller. And then I'll go back in with this around the nose, the vanilla shade around the nose, as well as on the lines of the Cupid's bow, because around the nose we just hormonally get red there, and then on the Cupid's bow just because I really like when that's like nice and bright. Okay, so first I like to blend out the contour shades. Everybody's different on this, but I just think setting the highlighted shades right after you have blended them out is the easiest. So I'm going to first take this MAC 130 brush. It's just a small stippling brush to blend out the cheek and forehead contour as well as the chin. But do it however you think is best for you. But I'm going to spray it with some MAC Fix Plus just so that it is really, really easy to blend. But take your time with this. I'm sure I'm going to be cutting out a ton of footage. Just blend. Just keep blending. So I like to blend in circular motions and just keep it kind of exactly where I drew those lines. I don't like to really bring it much higher or lower. The reason for that is I draw them there for a reason. So I want to kind of keep it right there. So you'll see that spraying the Fix Plus makes it just a little bit easier to blend. I'm going to bring it up around the temples, into the forehead. I try and keep mine kind of high up, but like I mentioned, if you have a bigger forehead, just bring it down a little bit. And I keep going around. I miss the highlighted part, like I mentioned. And then I keep going back in with Fix Plus to like keep spraying, because it's just easier for me to blend that way. And then my chin. And then for my nose, everyone's different, but I actually like to blend out my nose contour with my finger, so that's what I'm going to go ahead and do. So I just take my finger and just blend and blur this line out, and then I kind of bring this up to the corner of my eyes so that it doesn't just look like a line has just formed on the middle of my nose. But I take my time with this part, so feel free to kind of use the same brush or go in with a beauty blender. I know a lot of people like to do that as well. I did, but sometimes I will just to kind of like touch it up at the bottom just so that it blends nicely, but I think going in with my finger first. So then to blend in the top part of my nose, I'm going to go in with my beauty blender, because that will just make it that much easier. So I kind of switch on and off with my finger and my beauty blender. So you get the exact look that you want, and feel free, sometimes I'll go back in and like re-highlight the nose, because that's to me the most important part, and then I'll just push it into the skin like that. Then I'm going to do the rest with my beauty blender, so I'm just going to press it into the skin, into my chin, my Cupid's bow, around my nose, and then under the eyes. And I do under the eyes last because, like I mentioned, this creases on me the quickest, so for me it's just much easier to set it basically right after it is blended in. And then same with the forehead. So now I'm going to go in and bake with the Laura Mercier Secret, or no, this is not, this is the translucent setting powder right under my eyes before I go in with my cream highlighter, and this is the Becca Opal cream highlighter. So I'm going to take just a different sponge. You can use the same one, but I just take this Real Techniques one, and then I just dab it into this product right here. And I'm just going to press this really, really nicely and pat it right under the areas that we put that concealer. I'm not going to bring it over much because I'm going to go in with my cream contour, my cream highlight, but you want to just nicely press it into the skin, and like it's going to look crazy. Like you're going to look like you have a white face, but it's not going to stay. This product is perfect for doing this, so don't get intimidated by this step. And right here as well. And on the chin. Okay, so then with the cream product, I'm just going to take a tiny little bit on my finger, like a tiny little bit. I'm not even going to push the pump all the way down, right there. And then I'm going to dab this on my cheeks, tops of my cheeks, and then kind of bring it all the way around the brow, because you don't want it to look like it just like hit you. You want it to look like the sun kind of like got you a nice little glow. Then I'm going to do this on the ball of my nose, and then a little bit on the bridge as well. And then my chin and my cupid's bow. So I'm just going over pretty much all the areas that we highlighted, and I'm just going to blend that out with the Beauty Blender. So after it's sat there for a couple minutes, I'm going to go ahead and take my tapered highlighter from Sigma, and I'm just going to brush all of this product away. To set the rest of the face, I go over the contour just to deepen it up a little bit with more contour shades. So I'm going to take my Kat Von D Shade and Light palette, and I'm going to take the middle shade right there, the one that I've hit pan on. And I'm going to take it with this Sephora like small little contour brush, and I'm going to do very, very lightly, tap it off, and I'm just going to go over that area that we contoured. Perfect. And then just take the excess and go around the areas that we contoured. And then for my nose contour, I'm just going to take this little Morphe M433 brush and a little bit of that and just go over the nose contour just a little bit. A good trick for this part is to also use this same color, which I did, in your crease. So like right in here, I have this same color right here, so that's a shade of your shadow in your eye. If it's all the same color, it looks really nice and it looks kind of more natural, so it doesn't look like you really like did a lot of work to get that. Just to set the rest of the face so that nothing moves, I'm going to be going with the Hourglass Dim Light color. Just adds a nice little like sheen to the face and keeps everything in place so that you can like hug people and touch people without your makeup transferring. So I just take a brush like this, tap off the excess, and then I just kind of press this into the skin. It doesn't really add any more color, but it makes you look nice and airbrushed, so I love it. Okay, so then for blush, I'm going to go in with the shade Dazzled. This is a Tarte shade. I've showed you guys this a bunch of times. I love it, and I'm just going to focus this on the area kind of in between the contour and the highlight. So just focus it right on this back cheek. And to give the skin a little warmth, I'm going to go in with another Hourglass bronzer. This is in this shade Luminous Light Bronze. I'm not going to be adding a ton or contouring at all. I'm done contouring. This is just adding a little bit of like bronze and glow back into the skin. So I'm just taking this Sephora powder brush, just dipping it in lightly and kind of just really lightly just going over the areas that we contoured, but I'm just adding bronze. I'm not trying to define the face by any means. For highlighter, I'm going to take that same shade, Opal, but this is in the pressed form. And I'm just going to take a little Real Techniques highlighting brush. I'm going to lightly put that on, tap it off, and then follow the areas that we highlighted. Same thing with down the bridge of the nose. Little on the tip. Cupid's bow. Chin. And then just to even everything out, I like to go over right under the brows with that same product. So I'm gonna go put some lipstick on, finish it up, and that is it for this. So that is how I cream, contour, and highlight. I hope that you guys liked it. If you wanna see my powder version or just the regular highlighting, contouring, please let me know. It's pretty similar. Instead of the cream products though, I just go in with the Kat Von D Shade and Light, but I just do it a little bit more defined. But if you wanna see that, I'll be happy to show you that as well. So this is the finished product of my cream highlighting contour. I hope that you guys like it. I love you so much, and I will see you in my next video.